How do? So, I've just come across a motorcycle chapter. A group of cruiser bike riders with the old cut-off leathers and stuff. And they look very intimidating. This way. Thank you for looking. Yeah, they look very intimidating. With the beards and mohawks and face masks and what have you. And they sat down beside me where I was sat down for a coffee on the front that I barista with. They are the nicest bunch of blokes you could imagine. Which is quite funny because I hate this junction. See, when you come out of this junction on the side here, there's usually cars parked in the middle of the road. And you've got to get round the bend without being knocked over. That's where I came out of here earlier on. So, yeah, nicest bunch you could imagine. And they look all Sons of Anarchy. Don't know if you've seen that TV show, Sons of Anarchy, actually. If you haven't, there were 7 seasons of it. And it was really done very well. Written by a guy called Kurt Sutter, who produced it, wrote it, directed some of it, starred in it. I don't quite know his background. I know he's married to Peggy from Married with Children, and she was starring in it too. But what a great set of seasons, and a great story. But you look at those kind of gangs, and you look at the reputations that they have, and it's easy to think that they're all extremely dangerous. And some of them are, undoubtedly. These Welsh boys were a great bunch, as intimidating looking as they were. They were good fun, good lads. Gravel. Got the right tyres for it with these Heidner K60s, but still don't like the arse of the bike stepping sideways. Still, let's lock our knees in and ride through it. Let it move around a bit, we'll still get traction. Looks like the weather might be clearing up a little bit. So anyway, Sons of Anarchy, what a great TV show. I was going to start off this one talking about not judging a book by its cover. However, let's talk TV shows. So what are your top recommendations for TV shows? So I'll give you a list of mine in no particular order. Game of Thrones, absolutely awesome. Intrigue, fantasy, boobs, fighting, surprises, dragons, which my 2-year-old will love if he was allowed to see that kind of shit. I didn't like that gravel right in the bend. So Game of Thrones, highly recommended for all the twists and turns and political intrigue and special effects and large scale battles, and it's pretty good. I've mentioned Sons of Anarchy, which is quite good. Come on, you can do it! Keep his spirits up, eh? fair play. That's not a small hill to be climbing up. 24 I quite enjoyed for a few years. The old Jack Bauer, and then they start scraping the bottom of the barrel, kind of bringing that back. But 24 was good, at least in the early days. House, that was quite good in the early days, became a bit formulaic really, but I do love a bit of sarcasm and smart arsiness, which is it's in the dictionary, I'm sure. Thank you, sir. He was right on the ditch. Fair play. Let's get out here and have a look around the bend. Banshee. I don't know if you've seen Banshee. That is awesome. More violent than you would expect for a TV program. Now that's got boobs as well. Kind of gratuitous sex scenes for no reason other than boobs, really. But that's got a good story to it. That's quite well done. Quite enjoyed that. There's only 4 seasons of that, and that's just finished recently. That's worth a look if you haven't seen it. What else was there that I watched? Ray Donovan. Ray Donovan's probably one of my favourite things on TV. Now I don't know whether that's because I'm Irish and they've got an Irish kind of background, but Brooklyn Irish are so far from Ireland Irish that there's not that much in common other than shamrocks on the walls and the bars. And I don't go to bars anymore, so it can't be that. But just a kind of insider's look at some of the stuff that goes on. Because undoubtedly, some of the things that happen for this Ray Donovan guy, a fixer in Hollywood, to go and fix, happens, right? And there are people like him exist and do this kind of stuff, which that's always good. I mean, it really is kind of male soap opera, I guess. It's a bit like EastEnders on steroids, I suppose. But there's a good story to it and really good characters. The characters have been really well developed, which I quite like. And that said, it kind of reminds me of Entourage. I don't know if you saw Entourage. There were 8 seasons of that. And I love that one because that was like a little kind of mini male soap. Each episode about 20 minutes long. And 20-25 minutes, something like that, I think. But really easy watching, good characters, good kind of story, ruined by the film that they made at the end of it, which was a bit rubbish. I don't know why it ended up the way it did, but it was a good watch. But that was actually made, and certain characters are based on real characters in Hollywood. So Mark Wahlberg made this and stars in it, but was quite open about some of the people that it was kind of based on in real life. And Ari Gold, the celebrity agent in that program, is probably one of TV's all-time greatest characters. He was just awesome, offensive and obnoxious. One of those people who you think probably suffers a bit from kind of imposter syndrome, you know, making lots of noise to convince other people that he knows what he's doing, when actually he's running around like a headless chicken. But the trials and tribulations are just fucking hilarious. So that's well worth a watch if you haven't seen that either. I'll stop there. Come ahead. Welcome. Nasty little junction, that one. That's why you always take it handy on these lanes, particularly when you can't see what's around the bloody bend. My granddad taught me once, treat every bend like there's a JCB coming the other way. because one of these days you'll be right. And that's the day you want to be watching what you're doing. So yeah, Entourage, highly recommended. Hey, it looks like this is cleared up a bit. So we can actually see the waterfalls here today, which is quite nice. What else is good? Spartacus is good. Now that took me a little bit to get into, because it is quite stylized. It's almost like a graphic novel on screen. And there's lots of boobs in that, and there's blood. I'm starting to see a recurring theme here, and it's not intentional at all. When you've had kids, you can't help but see boobs as being quite functional, really. They've lost that mystery. Is that a thing? I think that's a thing. It must be. It is for me, at least. Boobs are still good, but they're very much functional. But I digress. So Spartacus, the arena, blood and sand and all that kind of stuff, they're all really, really good. Now I do like Roman history quite a bit. I've been to Rome and go and see kind of Roman ruins when I can, and I've read up a lot of novels and history texts about ancient Rome, which is a fascinating time and place, really. So, so Spartacus is quite good. More than welcome. Oh, look at this lovely valley. You can actually see it now, which is quite nice. So yeah, I quite enjoy Spartacus. There's a few seasons of that which you can watch. I ended up buying the Blu-ray pack. Another really good one is, which I bought the Blu-ray, is Battlestar Galactica, the remake. Now I remember watching that when I was a kid. The flying motorcycles may have had some influence on my decision to ride bikes as an adult, possibly. This is a very naughty bike. Just a little bit of gas onto a crest like that, and front end goes very light, very quick. But Battlestar Galactica is a cracking TV show too, if you're into any sort of sci-fi type stuff. Really good. I almost gave myself a little bit of a fright. And me. He was in the wrong position on that road. He should have been out wide, looking into that bend. Instead he's in the middle of the road, coming into a right-hand bend for him, which is silly. Should have been out on the left. Got to see around there. Whereas I was out on the right-hand side because it was bending it away to that way, so I could actually see him coming and get out of the way, which is quite good. Before I got to the apex. House of Cards. If you haven't seen House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, what a really well done TV show that is. That is another one, like kind of Entourage and Ray Donovan, where you think this can't all be made up. You know, there is very much a sense of at least some of that being based on things that happened or kind of go on behind closed doors. And Kevin Spacey is just so good in that role, as is his counterpart, his wife. She is such a predatory, switched on, calculating character. She is quite terrifying, really. I'm kind of watching how they interact through the ups and downs, and the political intrigue and the deals and everything else is That's a really good watch, I have to say. Get over, you moron. Now, he had a gap there, he could let me by, but chose not to. So there's another one. If you see a motorcycle coming at you and you just drive at them because you've got a big car, score 1 point, 1 cockwomble point. You can actually, oh, I hate going across that gate. She stepped sideways again. You've got to get your front tyre to the far side so it's got some grip. It's just nasty. Every time you go over that gate, it wants to put you sideways. It's the only one because it's right in a bend, which is nasty. But look at this valley today. What a stunner this is. And the good thing is you can see quite a distance as well. Check. There's a bit of dead ground here, I'm not sure. Now we're clear for a bit. Actually use the road. Watch out for sheep shit. And sheep. So yeah, House of Cards, highly recommended. Well worth a look. Netflix has a few good bits and pieces on. Now, having said that, I did watch Daredevil. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but you know, people were raving about it. It was a bit bland for me. So the lead character is played by the guy who played in Boardwalk Empire. I did watch all of Boardwalk Empire, that was good. I enjoyed that as well, actually. And he does play that character quite well. And he plays a blind man quite well. So fair dues to him for his portrayal of the character, but it was just a bit... Some of these hidden little roads are awesome. I might do another video on Top Gear roads. So there's quite a few roads over here. Look at this water just going to run along. Look at that. It's just fab. So there's quite a few roads in Wales, the Top Gear and Fifth Gear and some of the magazines use. And I know where a few of them are. So I might actually go and do a video or some of them. Kind of pick out the best roads and stick them together in a video. Walkers are nice people, generally. It's nice to sail out, nice to be nice, really. So this road is quite shiny too, it's quite nasty. Waiting to trip you up. This one is a little reminiscent of the Cat and Fiddle road up here in Macclesfield. This one doesn't have average speed cameras on it. It's not the same blast around here either. It's very easy to meet a car coming the opposite way in your lane around a blind bend. Look at all that water. Superb. That was a bit of bum clenching as it came around that bend. You know, when you're changing direction, looking over in water, particularly if it's been standing there for a while, or if it's only just come down onto dry, warm tarmac. love the way you see it just kind of open up in front of you. Crests here to be mindful of. It's easy to get your wheel up on that one going the other way, and dropping off it, but it's an entirely different prospect. Let's give it some of that wind noise, shall we? So I came over here this morning, tried to get a view of the roads. I do prefer travelling the other way, but it's nice to get a view of these roads at least. I highly recommend you taking a trip through Elan Valley if you haven't. Car or bike, either or. Just bring your car on a day I'm not here. This is a good road. Now a little further along here, there is, they've actually built a new bridge. There's an army truck and a bike, I think, looks like a trike from a distance. There's a few army trucks coming down. That's a truck. So yeah, they built a new bridge up here that runs around the reservoirs, and around those reservoirs is actually really nice, really nice. These boys up for a bit of a walkabout today. They do train some of the SAS boys up here. Get over, you fucking arsehole. Your fucking buddies could stay on their side. Dick. So there you go. If you're lane hogging when you don't need to be, when you're coming towards a motorbike, score 1 point. Cockwomble. Anyway, I'm really stacking up these cockwombles. I mean, this was only an idea I had this morning to do a cockwomble video and give people an opportunity to score points being cockwombles. Stupid things they do on the road. And already I've got 6 or 7 of them. And I've only been riding for, what, 3 hours? 3.5 hours? The struggle is real, people. Just car and truck drivers can be such morons. Well, don't get me wrong, bike riders can be too. There are idiots out there who give everyone a bad name. Jesus Christ, far and away, the worst people I see, the worst offenders, are those car and van and truck drivers. Anyway, here's the new bridge they've built down here. Over at my 1 o'clock here. Now that used to be a couple of sheets of sheet metal. Watch out for our sheep on this side. A couple of sheets of sheet metal that were just kind of laid across the stream, across the gap in the stream. And it was always a bit slippy, a bit tricky going over there, but they have a nice new kind of stone bridge built. And you can run up around the reservoirs in there, and that is beautiful out there. If you get up to the very highest one, it looks like you can go no further. On the left hand side of it, it is kind of a dead end, it stops at the mountain. And having a good old laugh to himself. That sheep he had an itchy neck and he was not moving for anybody. But fair play to that car driver, just stopped right behind him as he saw me coming. Like him, hence he got a nod and a thank you. But anyway, down there where that reservoir is, stunning, and that runs around the back. So on the very top one up there, on On the left hand side it stops at the mountain. On the right hand side of it there is a 7.5 mile track. I'd say it's gravel, but it's not quite gravel. There's the rescue boys out for a bit of a walk. About 7.5 miles. I would say it's gravel, but it's kind of big loose stones and kind of shitty mud and what have you. I'll take that, thank you. And that's well worth a look too. If you've got an off-road type bike, like even this one, GS. So one of my mates has got a GS. The other guy's a 990 Adventure, and obviously this is 1290 Adventure. All of them do it without a problem. And I was a lot quicker over there last time than I was the time before. Just from getting more hours in the saddle on this thing and kind of practicing some of my slow speed manoeuvres, putting better tyres on so I've got confidence in them. Doing a little bit more kind of fire track type roads and forests and what have you. It really is good fun. Thank you, sir. You saw me coming. I like you too. You got a big thank you. But yeah, cracking on over there at kind of 30-40 miles an hour off-road, stood up on a big beast like this, with the bike moving around all over the place underneath you. And you just kind of seeing obstacles coming up in front of you, deciding what you're going to do with it, and then looking on for the next one. Just let the bike do what it's doing. So much fun. I never thought I'd like kind of off-roading. I always thought fast road was where it would be, or eventually on track. But I have to say, doing big kind of travel miles on this, and then getting some off-roading in as well, it's just awesomely good fun. I very nearly bought a 1600 GT BMW, which one of my other mates has, and I did buy him a pipe and slippers for Christmas when he got it, but I had actually test rode one before that, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I was changing from my beloved ZZR 1400 at the time. I actually tried the old GS, which was like a tractor. It was horrible, I hated it. And that kind of torque pull, every time you twisted the throttle, the bike would kind of pull sideways. It was fucking horrendous. Character, some people call it. It was like an excuse as far as I was concerned. So I tried the old one, the old GS, I tried the new GS. I tried the 1600 GT. And I tried the Triumph Explorer 1200 XC, and I ended up taking the Triumph purely based on the looks, because I had seen it at the bike show the previous year. I just loved it. It looked like something out of Halo, especially in that kind of camo green colour. But being able to take a bike up here, and you could take any of those bikes up here, even sports bikes you see up here, but halfway around, when you see a gravel track leading up into a valley, then I just love the option of being able to take that turn and off you go. Which brings me around and back to my favourite TV shows, which I absolutely loved, subsequently bought on DVD, was The Long Way Round and Long Way Down. Now don't get me wrong, I don't like Charlie Bourbon. I think he is, he moans a lot, and is your kind of quintessential TV star, which is just fucking flouncing around and expecting things to be done his way, shouting and moaning and bitching at people, so he can fuck off. McGregor was in Star Wars and did a good job of it, and is an all-round, seemingly nice bloke, and he's a real bike nut. I actually grew to like him quite a lot watching watching those shows. And yeah, they did a lot of help and all the rest of it. But so fucking what? They did it. You likely haven't. I haven't. So if I had the option of going around the world alone or going around the world with a mate and a van backing me up with spare parts and mechanics and security in it, I know which one I'd take. And that's the extra security bit. I think I'm a bit more of a pragmatist than an adventurer. Well, you know, I like the idea of adventuring. But I'd like to do it with a bit of backup. There was that scare story of, sorry, just checking for pedestrians. There was that scare story of, not scare story, it happened. That guy who bought a motorbike was travelling around the world and then went down into Mexico, and he was found a short while after he went missing, beheaded on a beach. And he'd done quite a bit of travel. You think, you know, when you're watching or you're reading all these books about travel and kind of looking at things like Mondo Enduro and Terra Circa and all the rest of it, it's nice to think you can trust some people, but there are certainly people out there you can't trust, and that poor fucker found out the hard way. We're moving right over. So yeah, long way down and long way around. A good watch if you could put up with Charlie Boorman fucking whinging, crying because Ewan's wife was coming down to Africa and all the rest of it. No time for him really. Self-righteous twat. Anyway, that's it. That's the Elan Valley. That's TV shows. That's a bit of a ramble about places to take your bike, whatever kind of bike you have. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, by the way, drop a comment below and let me know what your favourite TV shows are if I've missed something that is really worth watching. And whether you're interested in seeing kind of some of the Top Gear roads or some of the other roads around Wales, or if there's some places that you wanted to see but maybe can't get up here to see. I've got a few more trips out to give the bike a bit of a shakedown. I've got to fix my sat-nav. You didn't even look there, you moron. You just came straight out. Just trusting the other car. So I've got a few more trips out just to give this bike a bit of a shakedown before my Scotland camping and biking trip next month. So I know I've got to fix sat-nav and a few other bits and pieces. Got to go and change the wiring up. So let me know if there's particular roads that you want to see, and I'll try go do those. And I'll speak to you next time. Alright, ciao.